If you are fired up already about the Florida Panthers, well, this episode's going to get you even more fired up because I'm going to be spotlighting one of their key players who has helped them reach the Stanley Cup Finals in each of the last 3 seasons. Pretty much it started when he got here. Guys, thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Panthers Digest. I am Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. So yes, special episode today. It's going to kind of go the same way as what I did a few episodes ago with Sasha Barkov. I'm going to be spotlighting none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Tkachuk. Now, I know you guys are going to say, well, you know, he might be on long-term injury reserve. He's probably not going to play this year, so why would I get fired up about this? Well, you're going to get fired up because you're going to be reliving some of the moments from this past season, the prior season, and you're going to learn more about Matthew Tkachuk and his journey to getting into the NHL and what has happened when he first got drafted by the Calgary Flames in 2016, as well as his journey through the NHL, getting the Florida Panthers, and currently where he sits right now on this team as one of the spotlight players. And I'm going to say this, he is overrated. People are saying he is overrated. Excuse me, he's not overrated, but his peers have voted him overrated. I said in that anonymous poll that they do at the end of the season, well, he was one of the players, I think it was not last year, but the previous year, where they said he was one of the most overrated players. He came in third in that vote. But it's safe to say he is not overrated. I will get into that after I play this 3.5-minute video that talks about Matthew Tkachuk, his beginning, when he started his career as a teenager, when it really started to take off, where he was at the time, the different things that he had to go through in terms of the different leagues he's played in, and then eventually getting into that 2016 NHL draft, being drafted by the Flames, and then getting traded to the Panthers and kind of sitting where he is today with 2 Stanley Cup championships under his belt. So guys, sit back, relax, get your popcorn, get a beer, get a soda, have some pizza, have some wings, whatever you want to do, guys. Enjoy this video. I really do think you're going to love it, guys. So get a little excited about this one. Enjoy. Matthew Tkachuk was born December 11th, 1997 in Scottsdale, Arizona. He was raised in the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri in a hockey family. His father, Keith Tkachuk, is a former NHL power forward and member of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. His younger brother, Brady Tkachuk, is also a rising NHL player who plays for the Ottawa Senators. And it's easy to say that Matthew's childhood was steeped in hockey culture thanks to his father's career. Matthew's hockey journey began with the USA Hockey National Team Development Program in 2013, where he played alongside future NHL star Austin Matthews. After 2 seasons, he then joined the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League for 1 season in 2015-2016, giving up his NCAA eligibility to do so. Playing alongside talented teammates like Mitch Marner and Christian Dvorak, he scored 107 points that season, was named an OHL First-Team All-Star, and scored the overtime winning goal that clinched the 2016 Memorial Cup for the Knights. Entering the 2016 NHL entry draft, Matthew was ranked the 2nd best North American skater and was selected 6th overall by the Calgary Flames. He signed a 3-year entry-level contract with the team in July 2016. He scored his very first NHL goal in an overtime win over the Buffalo Sabres and quickly established himself as a dynamic winger known for skill, high hockey IQ, and physicality. During his time with Calgary, well, he became the youngest player in the Flames' history to reach 100 NHL games, and he served as an alternate captain in just his 3rd season. And Tkachuk was always improving his scoring with the Flames, hitting career highs in the 2021-22 season with 42 goals and 62 assists, which helped lead the Flames to the Pacific Division title. During that season, Tkachuk was part of one of the NHL's most potent forward lines with Elias Lindholm and Johnny Gaudreau. All of them scored at least 40 goals. That's an achievement that has rarely been seen in the NHL. In mid-2022, Tkachuk requested a trade from the Flames and was later traded to the Florida Panthers, where he continues to excel. In his very first season with the Panthers, well, he scored 40 goals, had 69 assists, and that helped the Panthers get to their very first Stanley Cup final since 1996. He was also a finalist that year for the Hart Memorial Trophy, which goes to the league's most valuable player. He then won back-to-back Stanley Cup championships with the Panthers in 2024 and this past season in 2025, where he actually scored the cup-clinching goal in the 2025 final. And the now Panthers number 19 has a superstar status and has some incredible achievements. The obvious major achievements are the 2 Stanley Cups that he just won with the Panthers in the last 2 seasons. He was also named to the OHL First All-Star Team in 2016, played in the NHL All-Star Games in 2020 and 2023. And in that 2023 game, which did take place in the Panthers' home arena, he was named the MVP of the game. Internationally, well, Tkachuk has represented the United States at several levels, winning gold medals at the 2014 World Under-17 Hockey Challenge and the 2015 Under-18 World Championships. He also contributed to the U.S. bronze medal team at the 2016 World Junior Championships. And Matthew Tkachuk, well, he's known for his contributions of elite skill, grit, physical play, and leadership. His perseverance and dynamic play have made him an icon, inspiring young players and bringing excitement to every rink that he enters. And he continues the legacy of his hockey family while carving out his own high-profile NHL career. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you learned something from it that maybe you didn't know about Matthew Tkachuk that I threw in there. And I know I didn't put as many videos and stats and graphics up that I normally do, but I didn't really want to make it all about the graphics and stuff. It's more about just the story being told of where Matthew Tkachuk began his NHL career. Yes, his dad, Keith Tkachuk, is a big reason behind it. And yes, he was always in the locker rooms doing all that stuff. So hockey is pretty much in his blood. Obviously, got uncles in the NHL. They used to be players. They're now working for teams as coaches, GMs, whoever it is. I don't know who they are. I know I think one of them is Thompson, but if I'm misspeaking, I do apologize for that. But I do know his hockey roots run very, very deep. But I just wanted to showcase a little bit more about where he was as a teenager, the different roles that he had on different teams, the guys that he played with. So he's learned from some of the best. He's played with some of the best. And yeah, like I said, hockey is deeply rooted in his family, and you can see it with the way his brother plays, the way his dad played, the way his uncles have played. So guys, I really do hope you enjoyed that. But really quickly before we go, when I started this episode and I said that, you know, the players in the NHL, when they voted anonymously on certain things, and they said one of those is most overrated player, Matthew Tkachuk got a lot of votes. I think it was 3rd place, and that was in 2023. I think maybe even last year too. I know he's gotten those votes several times in his career when the players have voted on it. But I want to show you guys something very quickly in terms of that overrated that people talk about. Well, he's not. Look at his numbers. His career numbers, he has 636 points, plus minus of 130. He pretty much averages a point per game almost. And having a plus 130 plus minus says that when he's on the ice, great things happen. He's usually out there and goals get scored rather than goals get scored on him and his line and the guys that he is out there with. So he's not overrated. And then if you take a look at him in the playoffs, he has been incredibly consistent in his last 3 seasons. Yes, Calgary, 4 times in the playoffs. Early in his career, didn't do a whole lot. You know, rookie season, all right, but not, you know, got better in that last year in 2021, 2022, but still that -6 on the ice, not the greatest team that he was playing on. Their defense wasn't that phenomenal, and the guys that were on his line, yeah, I know Gaudreau and I can't remember the other players' names, so you'll have to excuse me for that, but I know Gaudreau was on that line, and just understand, he has gotten so much better since he became a Panther. His role on this team, it fits everything, as you saw in the video. You know how he is as a player. It fits the style of play with Sasha Barkov because they are opposites in terms of the leaders that they are. Barkov is more of a soft-spoken captain, and Matthew Tkachuk's the polar opposite. So it's kind of that perfect mix of the two of those guys coming together and their personalities, helping this team from different perspectives. You know, and I do think that Matthew Tkachuk did light a spark under this team in terms of changing the culture, the physical style of play. I mean, there are quotes that I was going to put in there, but I can't put too much video in there, guys, unfortunately, where he's talking about his role on the team, the mentality shift that happened when he got here. He said that, you know, the locker room, these guys have the belief that they want to win, and that was when he was first in a Panthers sweater in his very first press conference. He was talking about that. He was saying, we've got all the pieces that we need to be great and to win a title. You know, we just have to take it one series at a time in the playoffs. We can't look ahead to it. And he's delivered on every single one of these things that he promised in that very first press conference that he has talked about. He even talked about the roster And this past June, I think it was June 20th or 21st, in the press conference after they had won their second Stanley Cup title in back-to-back years, he did say, look, the roster is going to change from time to time, but we have our core group of players and the chemistry is just going to keep growing. And he's like, and I've seen it these last 3 years, guys have come in, guys have gone out, but the core group remains and the chemistry just keeps getting better. And he's like, no matter what, we're always going to be this great team. And I keep going back to these numbers. He's not an overrated player. Is he a pain in the ass to play against? Absolutely, because of the intangibles that he brings, the game within the game, of that psychological factor that he plays. You look at his numbers. This past season, he played on one leg in the playoffs. Ignore the regular season numbers because he was out for over 20, I think it was 23 games in total is what he missed since the Four Nations Cup injury. Came back in the playoffs, played great on one leg. And for those of you who wrote writing in the comment sections, oh, it's breaking the law. They're not laws, they're rules, number one. But they're not breaking any rules, guys. They are just smarter and understand what long-term injury reserve is right now, where you could put a player on it, and his injury is very severe. What has happened isn't some light-hearted thing. If you guys look up an adductor tear, it's a very serious injury. Very serious, and is not an easy one to play on. You can ask any athlete that has pulled a groin, tore the muscle, strained it, whatever it is so hard to come back from it because it usually is never the same, even if you just strain it. But anyways, guys, I'm getting off topic. He's not overrated. He should be considered one of the great players one of the great overall rounded players in the game. He could score, he could assist, he could be physical, he could bring that extra oomph that the team might need if they're starting to fall behind in a game. He rises up in the big moments to try to take over. And we've seen it. Even this last season, in this last postseason, we saw it a couple of times. He doesn't play hurt when he's hurt. Anybody in the NHL doesn't, but I think he is one of those guys, especially in 2022-23, when the Panthers lost to the Golden Knights. He still played with a broken sternum, and that is incredibly painful. Watch watch videos of Brady Tkachuk talking about his brother, stating that, like, look, he could barely speak after a couple of the games when he was playing with it. He could barely move, but he still was in there putting his body on the line, trying to play to help his team win. You want to talk about a guy who's going to stick his neck out and bust his butt out there and doesn't matter? Matthew Tkachuk is your guy. Selfless, full of toughness and grit. That is the guy. So anyways, this is the last thing I wanted to show you, like how the Calgary Flames done. Well, not so good. Didn't qualify for the playoffs the last 3 years since Tkachuk has been out. You can see the league finishes have been either midway or below, and they have finished low in the conference for the last 3 seasons. As for Jonathan Huberdeau, not doing so great. After he was traded, his numbers have dramatically dropped. Not doing so good. Obviously, the team isn't that great. His plus-minus has been terrible because their defense hasn't been very good, unfortunately. But Mackenzie Weegar has actually been doing great. He's been playing very, very solid on defense. But yeah, unfortunately for the Flames, not the best trade for them. Great trade for the Panthers. Obviously, it worked out. But yeah, don't think that Matthew Tkachuk is overrated in the slightest bit. And for those of you who say the Panthers cheated, broke the law, broke the rules, they're not. They just know how to use LTIR to their advantage. And if you're going to, in the offseason, and you can wait for a player to have surgery if they need it, why wouldn't you wait? So you could fully use LTIR to your advantage to keep guys like Evan Rodriguez, so you don't have to trade those key players you want to have on your roster, and just wait until literally the day before the season begins, place him on LTIR, have the surgery, and then wait until he gets better. I know all of you are like, well, it's just so convenient. Yeah, it is convenient. Any team can do it. Any team can do it. I'm sorry that if you guys had an injury on your team and your GM or whoever wasn't smart enough to think that way. I know they might have been like, well, it's better to have him have the surgery right away and then get him better, get him back on the ice so he could start playing in the regular season and we can make the playoffs, whatever. He's in the playoffs, they start playing, yada, yada, whatever. But that's not how the Panthers think. Their team is good enough that if he's not playing, they can still win. And they proved it last season. Yeah, it was a little rocky at times when the injury bug hit him that last about 3-4 weeks of the season. It got a little rocky. I think they lost like 6 or 7 in a row. But the good news is, again, this team is so deep. They're so good. Matthew Tkachuk not being on the roster and being on LTIR, they're going to be great, especially if Evan Rodriguez stays and they're able to keep every name that is on that roster now. If they're able to keep it, that's going to be the recipe for success for this team. They will still be able to win because they're great. And with the additions of Marchand and Seth Jones, this is going to be a very interesting start to the season to see what happens with this team. Can they keep clicking like they did through the playoffs and roll it into this next season, guys? But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I hope you enjoyed the video on Matthew Tkachuk. I know I got a little off topic there towards the end, but guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one. It'll probably be coming out on Tuesday. I have a lot to do tomorrow. It's going to be a very busy week for me, but guys, enjoy it and go Cats.